Welcome back. Come sit. I'm I'm your host, Pigsy People, and today we're going to continue a story I couldn't remember from the top of my head, but now I remembered it. Let's get into it. I don't want you guys to worry. So after Deku went home for the day and went to sleep, he then got a text message from Mirako. They were good homies, saying if he would want to go into her internship again. And he said, cool, I'll be there soon. And the Mirako was like, awesome. And then takes a photo of her with her eyes showing and her ears perked up with a peace sign above her. And now Deku just falls back to sleep, wakes back up, gets his hero costume on, and then goes to Mirako. Then Mirako says, "Well, hey, well, actually, we're gonna partner with another group because I heard about something that I really wanted to be a part of." And she like grins with a boastful smile, saying, "There was this evil guy that would say that if you got touched by him, you'd die instantly. So I wanted to test my luck against him, you know." And then Deku's like, "You are completely insane. I know." And now Deku and her just walk to Sir Night Eyes. Deku shakes Sir Night Eyes' hand, and Sir Night Eyes shakes Deku's hand. And then let's just skip all the pleasantries. Deku says, "I'll just go on patrol. Oh, could you take my student Muriel with you?" That's alright. Alright, come on, Muriel. Alright. And then they go for a walk. But just chill, very chill walk. They do stop some crimes here and there. But, you know. And then, a kid runs into Deku, like, starts gripping onto his leg, and then he sits down to talk to the little girl until this completely suspicious ass guy pulls up, like you having a small child with the Yakuza drip on isn't suspicious at all. And Deku's just staring at him like, I swear God, if you even try taking this kid from me, I will stab you in every single orifice of your body. Overhaul is a bit conflicted on touching his head, his shoulder to say, thank you for taking his kid in. But actually, he was gonna blow Deku up and then kill Mirako. Mirio. It's hard to... It makes my brain up. And then Deku gets his head... And Mirio just taps him on the shoulder, telling him to... Well, not... Shakes his head, basically saying, not the time. And then Deku let goes of Eri and says, sorry, I thought something else, but, stay safe, y'all. Then Deku's gritting his teeth, and his lips bleeding. Because he's very furious that he had to leave the girl behind. But he knows he'll save her later. No matter what. And they head out. Yeah, he just left, you know. Then they explain the situation. They look towards the area that Deku was patrolling, and then they immediately just get... And Deku just stands there waiting for Mirako to do something. Because as soon as she acts, he's acting. Yeah, so the big guy shows up and Mirako just completely clocks him to the ground. She is the number 5 hero after all. So he's kind of out. And then Deku runs in. Oh yeah, then Deku just runs in past the big guy. With Miracle, of course, because they are the Fade. Nah, if they ever were pro hero duo, they'd be called the Fade. They would be called the Fade. Like, Deku would have the, and Miracle would have Fade on it. And then Deku just... And then Deku just, oh, okay. And Miracle just busts down the wall the guy tried to make. Then Deku, makes his hand into metal. Actually, no, he just uses his metal hand to break down the wall. Then jumps through the wall. And then they immediately find Overhaul, which Overhaul is just now tense, because the number 5 hero is here, and a kid that he ran into a little before. That looked like an absolute demon. And then Deku just immediately tries to slam some rocks into him, but you know him, he just breaks them up and takes them away. But Miracle is already on his ass, clocking him in the gut. And then just starts and then she spins and just plops him on the ground. But he puts his hands on the ground, breaks it apart, and then stabs Miracle a bunch of times. But she takes out of those spikes, then runs away because she's bleeding. But since she already had like healing items on her, she just heals herself. I mean like tie up. And now Deku then needs to figure out a new strategy. And he has a new strategy, telling Mirako the strategy. And then Mirako's like, I like this strategy. Now that's a strategy right there. And then she just runs up the wall, breaks the entire ceiling upwards, which makes the sky open and up. And then Deku just writes a huge symbol on the ground. And then he smacks his bare hand into the ground, which makes it bleed. But then that makes the spell activate. And then it shoots up into the sky, starts spinning the clouds. And then it makes a dark cloud. And then Deku puts his hand up, the metal one. And then lightning bolts shoot from his head to his arm. Then he duplicates his metal arm out of his chest. And then just uses a whole lightning bolt to Overhaul, and Overhaul gets smacked straight forward. He gets tased, like, he gets electrocuted almost to death, like he's coughing out a heap of blood. But luckily, his hand touched his subordinate, and he was able to power up into his full form. And then Deku was scared because now his arm is busted. It's busted. It's completely busted. He has to tear it off, or it's just going to be a hindrance. And Deku just takes the duplicate and then puts it back on. Yeah, luckily for that duplicate, it was a perfect fit. And then Deku just bomb rushes so Mirako doesn't get killed, And then he jumps into the sky. And then it's about to kick towards Overhaul. But, Overhaul dodges. But then Mirako's there about to clock out of him, sitting in the breaking his entire back, but he just explodes his body and heals it, and then just smacks them both into the sky. And then then Deku just shoots up into his cloud, and then just absorbs all the magic that was in it into his soul, which then makes him get a lot of black tattoos over him, and then his eyes start glowing just completely red. All red eyes. And then he grows black angel wings, and then he just flies down with a giant metal arm now. Think, Kid from One Piece with that arm. It's that big. And then, Deku has to face the big boy overhaul now, with Mirako just falling out of the sky because, she can't do that. So she then just powers up a kick to Overhaul's skull, and Deku knows, yeah, he's gonna need to set that up. And then, Deku just starts punching around Overhaul, just often, a lot, very often. And then, as soon as Miracle's right about to hit him, Overhaul explodes his body, which then shoots some shards of his skin into Mirako. It's really disgusting. And then her skin starts, burning because it tries to steal some of Mirako's skin, and then it does steal her skin, and she starts crying out with pain. And then she's out cold, because that was excruciating. Then she just lands in some rubble. Don't worry, she's fine. And then Deku just bolts. Elon bolts his ass, because you heard his master. You took out the Fade. Now you're gonna have to mess with the Fade. And then, Overhaul gets the Fade, with Deku starting to punch Overhaul a bajillion times. Hit him with the Star Platinum Uras of how fast they were going. And then Overhaul starts flying upwards, but he shoots some skin off at Deku, but Deku is, more perceptive than Iriko, stomps his foot on the ground, and then just makes a giant cube around the glob with a cement block, so Overhaul can't get it now. So now he just took out a glob of his skin, with now it being trapped. Then Deku runs him, but Overhaul luckily gets a cheap shot on Deku, which then tears off his arm. And since Deku can't clone it now because it's not a part of his body, then Deku starts flying out of control because, the way he flies now is way out of proportion. He just lands in some more rubble. Then he powers up and puts his hand on the ground and then just pulls out all the sewage water of Japan. Not all of it, not all of the sewage water of Japan, but in that vicinity, and then uses it to his advantage and starts slapping him. Then starts water whipping the guy to Overhaul, which is painful, and plus it stinks, so it's kind of burning up his eyes. And then Deku just rides a wave to him on some rubble on the wave, and he slams the rubble into Overhaul's face, but Overhaul just eats that shit, and then rams his hand into Deku's face. But Deku then just, I guess he just, before Overhaul could have the chance, he's about to use his quirk, but Deku just cuts his arm clean off, since he knows he can just regenerate it. But luckily, his arm is just gone, so it didn't work. So he took it off and threw it back at Overhaul, which he just retached. And then, Overhaul has the great idea of just slamming his fist on the ground, exploding his entire body, and then fusing with the rubble around the place. Luckily for Mirako, she woke up and then limped away from the scene, because she needs to heal. Yeah, now we just have a Gundam. A giant overhaul Flesh Gundam. It's mostly a fleshy bird head with a giant steel body with rock body. And then he starts swinging at Deku, but Deku's just weaving it with his bird wings. And then he starts like weaving him, and then he spins his hand like Gogeta, flies to him, and then kicks him right in the eye. His face, but overall just grows wings. By grows wings, I mean he grabs the sewage and makes it all the non-liquid stuff into wings, and slams Deku out of there and starts flying around himself, with Deku flying with him, and then slamming his fist into him, and blows off one of his limbs, his robotic limbs. Deku grabs the limb, then swings it around, and slaps off out of him with his own limb. And then Deku flies towards him, and then he gets, and then he gets cut the fuck in half. Deku is now in half. Deku's bleeding out until Deku is able to write a symbol on his hand and smack himself on the eyes. On the forehead, actually. No. Yeah. And then he just disappears from sight. Except for his leg half. Yeah, that shit's still floating. Then overall thinks he just killed himself. So overall starts jumping in joy because he won. He starts mechanically laughing. And then we get cut to Deku, who's bleeding out right now, talking to the truth. And smiling, knowing the kid only came here because he wanted another deal. But can the kid trade his own life? Look at you, even then, you're probably running out of that. Look at you, you're about to die. And you come to me, the truth, the thing that doesn't care about anything but laughs? And this right here is a great joke. But in a more raspy tone, because I'm not good at raspy tones. And now Deku just pleads with him to please just take anything from him. He needs to save that girl. What girl? And then the truth smacks Deku on the forehead to take some memories out of his brain. Then he looks towards Eri and sees, I think I personally saw that girl get created. Well, I can't just let the thing I saw get created just die, Alright, buddy. I guess I'll give you a free I'll give you a free trade. You save that girl, I give you life. And if you don't save her, then I take it. And then Deku teleports again with a full body, with a cyborg body with metal wings. Then overall trying to walk towards Eri, and then Deku just appears, punching Overhaul in the rib cage, the robotic rib cage, the mecha rib cage, and then just starts flying up to the sky with this giant mecha, and then he starts punching into the ground, into Overhaul, until then the mech explodes, and then Deku runs to the fleshy bits, rips it straight in half to get the Overhaul bit, grabs Overhaul by the throat, and then just starts staring into his brain, like his eyes then turn pure, just heavenly white, which then makes Overhaul start screaming in agony. He just starts yelling in agony. He's in so much pain right now. And then Overhaul just starts becoming white, and then his crow mask starts obliterating off his face. And then all the fleshy bits start turning white, and then he just implodes. Like his skin starts going in itself, and then he just explodes. which then doesn't. Deku just gets knocked clean out. His wings dissolve and he just falls back to the ground. Luckily, Mirako is all healed up and saved Deku. Then he put him down and said, "That was awesome! And look at you! You even got a new upgrade! I'd love to spar with you sometime. Is that alright? The Fade?" Of course, Fade. And then they both laugh. And then and that is where I'm going to leave things and end things for What If Deku Had Alchemy. Hope y'all liked the video. Like and subscribe. Hit the post notification bell because it helps me get mun-muns. And it helps you know when I'm about to post another video. I know it's average, but I'm working on it, so. Goodbye, everyone, and I hope you like the tale.